evening and welcome to News Watch this 16th day of August 2022. Thank you so much for joining us for the news updates at this hour. We're coming to you live from 28 Valley Road in Nairobi. I'm Tony Omondi and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Let's begin our broadcast tonight. Now, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga has rejected the results of the 2022 presidential election, where Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati declared UDA party candidate William Ruto as the winner. Addressing the media, Odinga announced he would be heading to court to challenge the results, which he termed as null and void. According to Odinga, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati was in violation of the Constitution and electoral laws in his decision to declare Ruto as president-elect. IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati declared William Ruto as the winner of the presidential election after garnering 7,176,141 votes, representing 50.49% of the total votes cast. Raila Odinga got 6,942,930 votes, which represents 48.85% of the votes cast. Our reporter Grace Ongoi has the details.
In accordance with the law, the Constitution and the law, I, Wafula Chebukati, Chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, hereby declares that Ruto William Samoei.
Monday, 15th August, will be remembered when Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate William Ruto was announced as the president-elect in the 2022 general election, an announcement that was issued amid tension at the National Tallying Center and Serena Hotel, where 4 IEBC commissioners alienated themselves from the results, alleging opaqueness in verification.
As you can see, the 4 of us, we are here, not at Bomas of Kenya, where the result is going to be announced, because of the opaque nature of how this phase has been handled.
In light of this, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition flag bearer Raila Odinga has said that figures announced by Wafula Chebukati are null and void and must be quashed by a court of law. According to Odinga, there is no legally declared president-elect.
I repeat, the figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void and must be quashed by a court of law. In our view, there is neither a legally and validly declared winner nor a president-elect.
Odinga, who spoke at the KICC, said Chebukati exercised dictatorship and erred in law by proceeding to announce the election results despite 4 of his commissioners rejecting the results. He pointed an accusing finger at Chebukati for denying commissioners access to the final tally of the presidential election results before the official declaration of the election outcome Monday evening.
What we saw yesterday was a travesty and a blatant disregard of the Constitution and the laws of Kenya by Mr. Chebukati and a minority of IEBC commissioners. The law is clear on the role of the chairperson of the IEBC. The law does not vest in the chairperson the powers of a dictator to rule the IEBC unilaterally. The IEBC is structured as a democratic institution in which decisions must be taken either by consensus or by a vote of the majority.
Odinga further commended the 4 IEBC commissioners, Vice Chairperson Juliana Cherera, Commissioners Irene Marsit, Justice Nyang'aya and Francis Wanderi, who walked out of Bomas to disown the results, terming the act as heroic.
I want to further commend the heroism of the 4 commissioners, the majority of the IEBC, who stood up to the bullying and the illegal conduct of Mr. Chebukati. We are proud of them and ask them not to fear anything.
At the same time, Odinga implored on his supporters to remain calm as they explore legal avenues to nullify the announcement. This means that the coalition will be proceeding to court seeking to nullify Chebukati's announcement.
Let no one take the law into their own hands. We are pursuing constitutional and lawful channels and processes to invalidate Mr. Chebukati's illegal and unconstitutional pronouncement. We are certain that justice will prevail.
Grace Wangoi for TV News Watch.
Now, controversy continues at the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, after 4 commissioners who disowned the presidential election results claimed that the commission's chairperson, Wafula Chebukati, denied them access to the portal where the final tally was being conducted. The 4, Juliana Cherera, Francis Wanderi, Justice Nyangaya, and Irene Masit, said Chebukati only presented them with the final results from the back end and didn't allow any discussions or questions on the tally. Addressing the press at the Serena Hotel, the commissioners disowned the results, citing the opaqueness with which they claimed the final tally was done. The commissioners also raised questions with the percentages garnered by the 4 presidential candidates, saying Chebukati presented a mathematical absurdity that defies logic. According to the commissioners, the final tabulation issued by Chebukati, which arrived at 100.01%, was erroneous.
We therefore decline to take ownership of the said results because the aggregation resulted in a total exceeding the percentage of 100, which cast doubt on the accuracy of the source of the figures tallied, and when we demanded that we verify our record, the chairman declined, overruled us, and insisted on declaring and announcing the said results. That, number 2, contrary to the Constitution and legislation, the results declared and announced did not indicate the total number of registered voters, the total number of votes cast, or the number of rejected votes, if any. In this regard, the results announced by Mr. Chebukati lacked a critical ingredient, namely the total number of valid votes cast to support the percentages scored by the 4 candidates. Guided by the authority of Minor Kiai case, petition number 106 of 2016, as upheld by the Court of Appeal in Civil Appeal number 105 of 2017, and affirmed by the Supreme Court of Kenya, we state categorically that the results of the presidential election held in August 9, 2022, declared and announced by Mr. Wafula Chebukati on August 15, 2022, belonged to himself and do not represent the declaration and announcement by Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission.
Meanwhile, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has gazetted the President-elect William Ruto and his Deputy Rigathi Gachagua as the winners of the presidential election. In a Gazette notice, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati said the two have been duly elected as President and Deputy President, having fulfilled constitutional threshold. On Monday, the IEBC Chairperson Wafula Chebukati declared William Ruto winner with 7.1 million votes. This paves way for the Transition Committee to begin preparations and see a seamless handover of power from the current government to the next. The Public Service Commission will tomorrow appraise the nation on the transition to a new government administration in line with its constitutional mandate. The Commission's Chairman, Ambassador Anthony Mushiri, will speak on 10-point advisory, which the Commission has prepared to guide and facilitate a seamless transition and continuity in service delivery. Moving on, the Elections Observation Group, ELOG, monitoring Kenya's general election, says its parallel vote tally is in agreement with the official figures released by the IEBC on Monday evening. ELOG chairperson Annie Reri on Tuesday said presidential election results by the IEBC are in tandem with the Observer Group's parallel vote tabulation (PVT). IEBC declared William Ruto president-elect after garnering 7.1 million votes, representing 50.49% of the total votes. ELOG says the group's projection for the final voter turnout was 65.1% against IEBC's official turnout of 65.4%.
The 2022 general elections registered improvements from the 2017 process and culminated in an enhanced, open and secured results management. ELOG can confirm that both the turnout rate and the official results announced by the EBC consistent with its PVT projections.
When the chair of commission, the chair of IBC announced the results, it was his constitutional duty to do so. Now, this is not to say that the results that he announced, whatever it is, that there could have been grievances around the results that he announced. The legal channel to deal with the results after they have been announced is to proceed to the Supreme Court.
The Law Society of Kenya, LSK, has demanded investigations into the disappearance and death of Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC returning officer Daniel Mbolu Musyoka, whose body was found in Oloitoktok on Monday. The society has called on the Inspector General of Police, Hilary Muchambai, and other relevant agencies to speed up investigations into the alleged murder. Addressing the press on Tuesday, LSK President Eric Theuri said perpetrators should be arrested and brought to book. Tess Njenga has this report.
As they continue to monitor the electoral process, the Law Society of Kenya President-elect Eric Theuri has expressed shock at the death of Daniel Mbolu Musyoka, who was working as an IEBC returning officer in Embakasi West constituency. On a media briefing on Friday, 12th August, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati said the election official was last seen at the East African School of Aviation Tallying Center the previous day, where he was escorted by his bodyguard. Unfortunately, the official's body was discovered on Monday night in Oloitoktok.
We have received, with utter shock and dismay, news that the body of the missing returning officer for Embakasi West constituency, Daniel Mbolu Musyoka, has been found in Loitoktok. This marks yet another death of a critical IEBC official in circumstances that point to a killing related to the discharge of duties as an electoral official.
While extending their condolences, the council promised to follow up on the investigations to ensure full accountability for the cruel act.
We wish, on behalf of the Law Society of Kenya and its members, to extend our heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of the late Daniel Mbolu Musyoka and assure them that the Law Society of Kenya will follow up on the investigations to ensure full accountability for this senseless and heinous death.
They also called upon the Inspector General of Police to take decisive actions against election-related offences and reassure IEBC officials of their safety.
We also call on the Inspector General of Police to deploy the best investigative resources this country has to unravel the heinous actors responsible for this cruel act, and also reassure the country and indeed all IEBC officials that their service to this country does not amount to a death warrant.
The Law Society of Kenya has called upon Kenyans to maintain peace following the release of election results and desist from being used as agents of violence by aggrieved parties. They have urged those with grievances to pursue any legal challenges in court.
As the Law Society of Kenya, We have, over the last 4 months, extensively trained our members on handling of election petitions, and we believe that we are ready, able, and willing to pursue any challenges in court. We therefore call on any aggrieved parties to reiterate the need for the maintenance of peace and order as they mount legal challenges to the results declared by the IEBC. We call on all Kenyans to desist from being used as political tools of violence against each other or as agents of hate, especially through social media and other platforms.
Reporting for Hope TV News Watch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Away from that, Agano party presidential candidate Odinga now claims that goons who tried to tamper with the tallying process at the Bomas of Kenya are linked to Azimio la Umoja. Speaking to the media, Mwaura said he has enough evidence on his claims to present to authorities. He has at the same time reaffirmed William Ruto's win, saying that the DP won the 2022 presidential election, insisting that the process of verifying Form 34As was transparent and in the public domain.
We, Agano Party and Agano agents team that was stationed at Bomas, wish to heartily congratulate His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President-elect, on his win and declaration by the IEBC chairman and the returning officer of the presidential election as the 5th President of the Republic. Consequent to that, we cannot refer ourselves to as the 5th, and as you recall, we conceded defeat. For us in Agano, we have no doubt that His Excellency's win was above board. Both arithmetically, because it was supported by the votes, and in terms of conduct at election, as per the election laws and Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya on leadership and integrity, his win was 100% mark. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said of his closest opponent and coalition that his opponent leads. We in Agano have refused and cannot sit back and see schemes to disrupt the truth. Right now, schemes that were going on to disrupt the verification process, lies and violence that was being planned and that was meted, being allowed to take place in our nation at a time like this, when we have had peaceful elections and the returning officer has sworn, has declared who the winning president is. Our chief agent and others have evidence of goons who came in the tallying floor on the night of Saturday 13th, disguised as agents, but disguised as observers, but working as agents of Azimio, and were carrying with them documents. Among the documents were Form 34As, and other papers, which they would get and were getting from the Azimio chief agent at the corner of the table where the agent was seated. During the process, an tussle that started that night and ensued, among others, a computer disappeared, among others. This act we strongly condemn. We also condemn the acts of violence that we showed yesterday, and particularly acts of violence that were meted against the returning officer and the chairman of the IEBC. We are ready and willing to write statements with the DCI, my agents, and for me, the part I saw, and to be part of and oppose any petition to be filed against His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto.
Meanwhile, the judiciary is fully prepared to deal with any presidential petition that will be filed before it following the announcement of William Ruto as president-elect on Monday. The Supreme Court has already set up a sub-registry at the Milimani Law Courts for litigants who wish to contest the election to file the petitions. Unlike previous years where presidential petitions were being heard at the Supreme Court, the judiciary has set Milimani Law Court Ceremonial Hall as the place where the presidential election dispute will be heard. The judiciary on Monday announced the timelines and guidelines for challenging the newly released presidential results. In a notice on Monday, the judiciary told all advocates, litigants and members of the public who may wish to file a petition to do so at 1400 hours before the deadline, Tuesday, August 23rd. Well, just a day after the announcement of the presidential results, businesses in Lamu County have begun to thrive, with traders hoping for an improvement in the economy of the country. The traders have, however, called on the president-elect William Ruto to fulfill the promises he made to them during his campaigns in the region following the rise in cost of living. Meanwhile, the traders have at the same time expressed mixed reactions with the conduct and performance of the IEBC when it announced the winner of the presidential election.
Biashara ilikuwa iendelee vizuri kwa muda wa wiki mbili, lakini sasa tunaamini kuwa kwa muda wa wiki moja kuendelea mbele biashara zitarudi katika maeneo yao ya kisawasawa.
Ni lazima wao kama IEBC iketi kwa umakinifu mambo kama haya na wafanye usawa, wafanye haki, kila mmoja apate haki yake. Kwa ufupi, haya kutufurahisha yaliyotokea Bomas jana. Si kitu ambacho kimekuwa cha wazi. Ikiwa makamishna wanne wamekataa, ilikuwa ni lazima Chebukati aketi na makamishna wote wakubaliane nao.
Tunao imani rais mteule swala kama hili atalishughulikia na gharama za maisha zitateremka.
Na kiongozi wa juu tumeridhika vile imepita. Bora tu tuomba huko juu, huko kwenu juu. Tuomba iwe amani, waridhike kabisa. Mwambie Raila bahati mbaya, mwambie mzee pia apumzike.
Tushirikiane na yeye, tufanye kazi na yeye. Binadamu ni ahadi na muungwana ni ahadi. Kwa hivyo tungependa kumwambia rais, na hatujamuona sahi, kali ni mbichi, ndio mwanzo anaingia, ameanza kuingia jana, lakini niko na imani zaidi kwamba rais ambaye kwamba tumempata atatutengezea Kenya yetu na atatutimizia zile ahadi zetu.
Sisi unena kwamba ya kwa mama ndiye baba. Fadhali tumkubali ule aliyotangazwa kuliko kuharibu nchi na maisha kuzorotesha.
In other news, Kimilili Member of Parliament Didmas Barasa, who was arrested and detained over the murder of his opponent Brian Kayamba's head, will now be held for 10 more days pending conclusion of investigations. This is after a Bungoma court granted the prosecution more time to complete investigations and allow more witnesses, including a National Youth Service, NYS, and IEBC officials, to record statements. According to reports, Barasa is suspected to have shot Kayamba's head on the forehead, killing him on the spot last week during the general election. The incident is said to have occurred when Kayamba, who was seeking to unseat Barasa, went to the Chebukwabi polling station at around 6 p.m. to witness the counting of votes. The case will be mentioned on 24th August 2022 for the DPP to confirm the status of investigations before making the decision to charge. All right, with that, we've come to the end of this bulletin at this hour. Many thanks for watching Hope TV News Watch. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. I'm Tony Omondi, and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Murithi. Have a good night. God bless, stay safe, and maintain peace.